There.
You know what the zip code was where I grew up? 913. That's how old I am. They didn't even have the other two numbers yet.
Right?
Hello, everyone. Hola, mis amigos. You're listening to Oh My God, Hi, Hijo de Dios. Hola. With me, George Lopez. Porque, ¿sabes qué? Let's do the show. Porque I got a lot of things to do. I gotta go to that dry cleaner ahí. My kid fell. Se pegó la cabeza. I gotta go get some Neosporin Paul.
You know what George is?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
What's his name? George
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Oh my God!
OMG.
OMG! Hi!
Oh my God, hi.
Great. Today's George's guest
So
today
awful,
is an award-winning writer, director, filmmaker, Lorena Gordon, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what? That's awful.
You want to do it again? Okay. All right.
do it
Today's
again.
guest.
But, you know, you didn't mention her film or any accolades.
I thought we were gonna like tag team it. I thought you were going there. I thought you were like, hey, by the way, I'm in this movie.
What are we, the fucking bobsled team? Like I turn the wheel and you follow behind me, you nestle in next to me?
We're on the two-man luge.
Let's do it again.
Okay.
If we're
All
on a
right.
two-man luge,
Who's
better
the
bring
top?
some of these.
Who's the top? I call top. Today's George's guest today is an award-winning director, writer, producer, filmmaker. She has many movies out that she's produced all by herself.
And I believe that you, young lady, will get an Academy Award nomination for At Last.
Hi.
I feel like the things that need to happen in order for something like that to happen are falling in line. It's like when your mom plays the lottery and she gets 0 numbers right, and she's like, nope, 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 tear the paper. There's a certain sequence of things that have to happen in order for somebody to win at like Plinko on Price is Right.
I didn't see that one coming. I thought
Remember
Plinko was
Plinko?
some kind of an academy, film academy I didn't know about.
Maybe.
But it's just a game on Price is Right.
Remember Plinko?
Yes, Plinko was great.
Yeah. And, you know, I asked you before when we weren't on that, I really don't want to make this about, you know, how we met or how, I mean, the process of the film, but also want to know a little bit about your life. Because I met your mom, right?
Yeah.
At the shoot, and your brother.
And my brother.
Yeah. So where would, if I asked you instead of him over here, how would you best define yourself in the way of this film? Like how did you get there and where did you start?
Sure. First of all, thank you guys for the invitation. I'm so happy to be here.
I thought it was important because, you know, I just feel like, you know, this is a very special project, and you got a lot of important people involved behind the scenes and in front of the camera. And there's, you know, at a time right now when, you know, when you ask somebody or you get asked to do things like 100 times, you know, 100 times is no. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. Nobody does anything for anybody much anymore because it's just like, I don't know, you know, you have like 3 days, but somehow 2 hours of those, you know, 48 hours is just a pain in the ass to do something. So you wish more people had each other's backs when it came to someone who's just starting in this business and would benefit highly from someone's expertise. And that's what I think that everybody gathered around At Last.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just to give you kind of like a synopsis of how I got to that point, I was born and raised in New York and always loved film. I think I was 8 when I saw Titanic. Like that was the film that did it.
Okay, so you always loved film, but
Yeah.
but was who in your family was into movies, and was it theater as well, or just movies?
No, my grandfather was a bullfighter, and my brother is into music. So there was no, you know, movies or anything like that. But my mom and my brother somehow took me to the movie theaters to see Titanic.
Right.
And I remember at the end when Jack Dawson drowns, I was crying.
Right.
And as an 8-year-old, I was like, "What is happening to me? Why am I being moved by these images?" And I didn't know there was, a director and a producer, and I thought movies just magically appeared. As a kid, it's,
Sure.
magic, pure magic.
Right.
Once I knew that this is something that people, it's an art form that people do for a living, that's when the switch in my brain clicked. And I was like, okay, I want to tell stories. And I picked up a camcorder as a kid and just started making these short films with my cousins and throwing my brother in there. And it was just...
But what year was that? Because me and you, we're like high 8. What was that called? Like we had stuff that...
Yeah, Super 8.
Super 8. We didn't even have, because what you're saying is what Steven Spielberg did. It's what every big director does on the way up. Robert Rodriguez did it. Is when you use your friends, you start making horror movies and you start making action movies.
Yeah.
And so, maybe unbeknownst to you, you were already on the path of what great filmmakers and directors do at that age. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, and at the time, I was a shy kid growing up. I was into movies, this weird, awkward kid, and for many reasons. I was closeted when I was younger, and I think being behind the camera helped me feel less alone, and I could tell these stories. And like I said, I was super shy, and I didn't know how to express myself, and through a camera, I could do that.
Is closeted shy?
Closeted means not out.
Not out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not out. I knew I was gay as a kid, so that I felt alienated and different.
So that's, I was telling Bryan that I wanted to discuss that because of all the things I believe, and not only just in our community, but just in the narrow-mindedness of a culture that rewards beauty but doesn't do much for the inside of people. Those people would be considered weird or strange, or like Cartoon, the artist. He said when he was 14, because all the guys he went to school with couldn't draw and he could, that they made him feel weird for being able to draw, and he didn't draw for 10 years because all those guys are like, well, we can't draw like you, so we'll make fun of you for drawing, and then you won't draw, and then we'll all be at the same level. But it eventually finds itself, I think, if you. So in a situation like that, do you remember when you knew, or do you know what?
Yeah, I was about 9 or 10 years old when I knew I was different. There was no verbiage. I didn't know,
right.
I grew up Catholic, my family is Catholic. So you just know that that's wrong and something or at the time I was something I'll never, bring up or experiment. I'll just keep that as a secret, deep, deep down inside. No one's ever going to know.
And when you went to school and you had your friends like that, did any of them, I don't think they would have known either, right?
I tried so hard to perform for them.
Wow.
and make sure that in no way could I ever be outed by anyone. So I really, that's why it came to a point where again, I'll add also to that factor. So at 13, I was diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. So here I am as a 13-year-old where, people are dating, your body's changing, all these things. So it was really shitty. The shittiest of years, I think, was my 13, and also dealing with my sexuality. But film always came in the forefront. And that was my therapy, my
But the
escapism.
lupus didn't stunt your growth or anything, because I noticed you're probably 4.5 feet tall. But that has nothing to do with the lupus or being closeted.
Those are genes, George.
Okay.
Look at my mom.
All right, good. Just so I know. A lot of times, man, you see little people, and you're like, hey, man, what's going on?
You got lupus and you got smaller.
When their hip and their ankle are a foot apart.
No.
That you're like, wait a minute.
Just vertically challenged. Just vertically challenged.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, your question was.
What was the question? About your height, but did your friends?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah. So then I come to a point where, it became so exhausting, and I couldn't keep up this performance. It was just draining me mentally and physically.
So you had to pretend you were somebody else in everything that you did around your family, around your friends. And do you think, like you said, being outed, do you think that because of bullies and all that stuff in school, that's another generation, were you worried? Are people worried about being outed?
I was worried about not being, first and foremost, it was my family's approval, that I was afraid, my mom got divorced when I was 4 years old. It's been the three of us. Like, she helped raise myself and my
Biological
brother.
father gone?
Yeah, gone. So for me, I saw it as not adding another burden for her. Like, the last thing she would want is for her daughter to be gay. So that, and not being accepted. So I didn't want to not be accepted by my family.
But I mean, so it's got to be tough because you're probably, like you said, performing, which is very interesting. So you're acting like someone you're not, and then maybe buying clothes that are clothes that you wouldn't necessarily, because they're gender specific. Dresses and things like that, and how it is specific now.
Yeah.
There might be different stuff. But so from the time of you waking up in the morning till the time that you went to sleep, the whole day was a bit of a mask, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
So the only time I could step away and not think of any of that was while I was watching movies. And that's how it became like this thing that I eat, breathe.
Right.
You
love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so who were your inspirations?
Oh, man. Martin Scorsese.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then I had the honor to be a PA on Wolf of Wall Street, and I had the opportunity to talk to him. Everyone was super nervous around him, like, don't look his direction and all this thing. And I just went up to him one day, and I was just like, you are such an inspiration to me. And he was diagnosed with asthma as a kid. That's how he got into movie making. If you read his biography, as a kid growing up in the East, in Little Italy, kids are out playing and stuff like that. He had asthma, so he just watched movies because he couldn't play outside with friends. And we were born in the same hospital in Flushing.
Wow.
So, and I remember he just said, just go make your films. And that was the last project I ever was a production assistant on. And then I moved out here to California.
So there was a reason that you became the production assistant there. How did you become a PA for it?
So,
because I think everything is not a coincidence. Like everything is kind of on your path.
Yeah. So once I graduated high school, I, looked to go to film school. I got rejected by all the film schools. So I went to Massachusetts for a year at this liberal arts college. Went there for a year and reapplied to all the film schools that I had been rejected from. And I got accepted to one in New York and Emerson College in Boston. I felt homesick, missing my family. So I went back to New York and went to film school. And, I think that's also something that we need to destigmatize is like, as soon as you go to, after high school, go to college, because sometimes that's not the path for many people. And I realized that 2 semesters into my film school that this wasn't my path.
Well, I think it's really kind of like, it was around when I was growing up that it just, for whatever reason, everybody thought that if you graduate from high school in June, that in September you're starting at university and you have that one summer, and then the gap year thing was like almost incomprehensible. Like people are like, you're going to miss a year of potentially going to school. When I think when you graduate from high school, if there's any time in your life that you really don't know what to do with yourself, it's immediately after high school.
Yeah.
Right. And back then you got the eyes rolled where I'm going to take a year off. Okay. You're not going to make it.
Because, when I was in high school and I still hang out with those guys and we were having a great time in that summer. And then a little after Labor Day, you could see things really starting to just kind of harden. And I remember being at my grandmother's house the first day of school, and really the first day that I didn't go to school anymore. And it was wild, man. Like, you just felt like this huge part of your life was missing. Even though I didn't like school, it gave, you've been going for 12 years plus. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that one Tuesday, everybody's walking to school and you're not. And you figure out what you got to do with yourself for the rest of your life. So that's, so in being homesick out there, like, how did that manifest itself?
So I was in film school, and I would just literally, if there's one thing about me, I just go for it. So I saw people filming a movie, and I went up to the assistant director, and I was like, what do I need to do to PA? And you can get a PA job. Yeah, it's like
A PA is like Bryan, but with a not as nice a shirt. Like you send that dude out, go bring me 2 cats and step out of here. You just walk with our neighborhood.
I come out and scratch
Give me
my
some
face.
pee Bring me some pee pats.
Yeah, so I started PAing on multiple, projects while still going to school. And I remember I was coming to this point where I was like, I don't know, college is so expensive. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. And I went to my production professor. He was the sound recordist for, so he did sound for the original Exorcist and The Godfather. Cool. Like he's worked with Coppola and all of that. And I just went up to him and I was like, do you think I need to do this? Because I don't know if I can keep coming to film school. And he looked me right in my eyes and he's like, you have it. He's like, just go do your thing.
Oh, wow.
And that was the just like affirmation or confidence, the confidence boost I needed.
Wow,
to leave film school. Obviously, it disappointed my mother, who her dreams are to see her children graduate college. And so
Do you think that's a thing, or do you just think her dreams are like just to get them out of the house?
No.
Because there's one thing that the pandemic has taught that parents didn't realize how big school is for getting your kids out of the house. With people choking kids down and throwing them around. And that wouldn't be happening if school was open.
Kids.
Right? Because you don't realize that, sure, they're learning, but you drop them off at 7:50 in the morning, you don't see them till 4. You're like, oh.
What a relief.
Yeah. They're there 24 hours
All
a day. Yeah.
But it wasn't like you were telling your mom, hey, I'm moving back in.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like that. That would have been stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, does your mother aware of anything of your life?
No. Just the fact that I loved movies and that's what I wanted to pursue. So, yeah,
But I think you'd be more of a Scorsese type person than someone who's a little more like maybe into sci-fi and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, no, I've always loved dramas and really
very grounded
personal,
in reality and grounded
Mm-hmm.
in real behavior. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think the thing that if I were to step away from dramas, it would be comedies. I would like to in the comedy realm something a little more upbeat and happy. But for me, I know when I watch a movie. And I feel moved, and it makes me think or it makes me cry. I absolutely love that.
Let's take a little bit of a pause here and go over what we know so far, because I think it's important for, even if kids don't listen to this, for parents to understand that if you try to make somebody fit into a box they don't fit in, you're going to have rebellion, and maybe a lot of those kids never get to be successful in whatever they're trying, but at least trying is better than letting that window of time go by when you can't go back and get that time. And then maybe later you realize, and then you tell your mom, and your dad, you guys never believed in me, you never trusted me, you never let me make my own decisions, you tried to plan my whole life for me and it didn't work, and I told you I didn't want to do that, and I told you that I didn't want to do this, and still you made me do it, and I just lost 10 years of my life trying to make you guys happy while I'm miserable. Jennifer Horvath, 1988, Brentwood College acceptance speech, word for word. But do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Wholeheartedly,
Yeah.
100%.
Because my
that's
grandfather
why,
would tell me, you're going to go tell lies, and I would just be like, it's like shit you don't need to hear when you're going to do something where you just feel like you're this one little pin, and then this whole fucking world of movies and TV and all that shit. And the guy that lives in the house with you is, every time you leave the house, you going to go tell some lies? It's awful.
Yeah, I think that really impacts a kid, as to, and that's one thing I'm so grateful for, for my mother to never had diminished my dreams. I told her, when I was 11 years old, like, I want to win an Oscar. Like, or my brother, like, never laughed in my face, so it's like that. I feel like it's so powerful for a kid to know that, at least my family supports,
And what year are we talking about right now that we took, now that we're going everything, what year are we talking about? Because I got a feeling we're not that far from that, right?
Okay, so.
Like me, when I go talk about the past. I remember seeing fucking windmills. I mean, who's that old that you remember seeing windmills?
Don Quixote running around there.
Or somebody selling the encyclopedias door to door.
Oh.
Or the Fuller brush man. Can you imagine how long I've been around to do selling brushes?
Fuller brush man, that's back there.
You know what
That's
the zip
back
code
there.
was where I grew up? 913. That's how old I am. They didn't even have the other two numbers yet.
Right? And we didn't have area codes. Right? We never did area. What's your number? That's 773-1455.
All right. I remember before the 310 area code. When the 310 area code came out, my grandfather was like, "Oh, shit. Pinche Mexicano. That's so many Mexican. I thought 310 there." Okay, so, all right. So then, now you move out here, and then how is that?
Yeah, so I had made a short film, which was my first short film that I made. Another personal film. That one is based on my mom's experience with domestic abuse and how she was able to leave this, marriage for the sake of her two kids. And we had shot that in New York and then moved out here. It did post-production. We got into a couple of festivals.
You shot that in New York.
So that was like my I wouldn't say my ticket, but everyone comes out here saying, I'm a writer, I'm a director. I was like, you're not going to move until you have something to show people. Like, this is what I do. Okay,
well, nobody does that. Nobody does something that they have to take around. Like out here, I mean, they got, the thing that you're working on, the golf thing, have they created a little bit of a sizzle where the guy's hitting golf balls and you hear? No, they haven't.
Well, no, nothing like that.
So,
Nothing like that.
so having the, knowing that it's better to have something done, which is more difficult because even if you were to move out here, you could say to somebody, well, I moved down, I'm just getting my just landing here. But you wanted to have something somebody could see, which is a huge difference.
And then putting that together, though, what kind of project was that? You didn't have anything in your pocket before you made that. How was it to get that done? How did that happen?
Oh, man, that was literally myself and my brother, who produced that project. And we crowdfunded that project as well. Wow. And, I found two actors who resonated with the material. And Marlene was an angel because she was, I literally sent her an email saying, can you please read this? I would love for you to be a part of it. And, yeah, again, having that person say, yes, I see you and I want to support you, again, immensely just impactful. And yeah, we shot that.
But not everybody told you yes. People that told you no.
Oh, yeah, no. I'll get to all the no's. Okay. Yeah. No, so it's those things that really, just helped bring that project to life. And again, just knowing what the vision for that project was, and once we started sharing it with people, we got calls from shelter homes and these organizations that deal with domestic violence. And at the time, I was just writing it, I think, because I wanted to get it off my chest, and I had all these feelings towards my father that I think I wanted to get on the page that I didn't have the balls to say to his face.
Did you know where your father was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was in our life until I was 18 when I was going to college, and he came over and, my brother's like, are you going to say goodbye? Or are you going to help mom with some of the stuff that we just spent like $5,000 at Bed Bath? And he's like, no. So, yeah, that was like the last time I ever saw him and we ever had conversation. Wow. Yeah, he was a bit of an asshole.
Was it? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Wow.
And he hasn't tried to reach out or anything?
No.
Yeah, man. It's a really difficult thing. I mean, I bet you probably felt different because if your other friends have mothers and fathers around and a bigger family and, you have that going on, the abuse or, the yelling and hiding and all the stuff that comes with that. Like, it just almost feels like it's impossible to get out from under that, right? Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to have my mom and my brother. My brother is, he helped raise me. So thanks to the amount of love that they've shown, I never felt like there was this missing thing. I do get super, teary-eyed when I watch father and daughter stories and films. But other than that, I feel like we've done pretty well, the three of us, since then.
But also, if he stayed, it would be more destructive than if he left. Yeah. I mean, better that someone leave and not have any contact than someone leave and still manipulate the people that he left behind.
Yeah, and I feel like
Hey, you don't think I've been watching 60
Man,
minutes?
you've been reading some books.
I've been watching it twice, 120. And sometimes another half hour, 180.
Oh my gosh, that's some smart
you
stuff.
think
in
I
this,
just sit around the house trying to...
And I think it's informed me, you know, and my stories that I tell, you know, and as an artist, I feel like trauma and all these, you know,
Right.
relationships does form you, you know.
So I read something that you say you like to make movies about the human condition, is what you said. And I'm wondering, when you were a kid, you picked it up. Now, what were those movies about? I want to know what
Man,
that was.
let me tell you something. That's the worst fucking question I ever heard in my life. You're just going around and around in circles. So can I ask you,
Yeah, about the human
when you
condition, everything's
decided
close to our
that you were
heart.
going to go and make a stand, do you remember standing up?
Did you remember making that stand? No, I'm
What's
interested in well, you said you make really heartfelt movies.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, when you were a kid, what were those about? Were those something about what was going on in your life that didn't come out later?
When that little kid catches the ball toward the end, forget it.
We had the kid with the boogers, and he's the hero at the end.
I can tell you some of my favorite movies, like the ones that made me cry.
Let's see.
Ghost. I remember seeing Ghost.
Of course,
Did you cry a ghost?
I did.
You did?
No one knows this, but I did.
Okay.
I did. I was touching.
Listen, one more white dude gone, I laughed through the whole thing.
Oh my God.
That's what this show's all
And
about.
even though a white dude
Sensitivity.
goes away, he's still trying to come back, huh? He's like, motherfucker, you lived already. Hey, leave us alone, eh? You trying to show up again? Why don't you let your old lady get over it before you start showing up as a mist? You know, white people, motherfuckers, they fly and they breathe underwater.
Yeah.
They can't just, they get mad when Latinos want to do a movie about just life. Nobody's gonna believe that shit. They throw webs out of their palms. Come on. Horrible. Okay,
So, anyways, back to my crappy question. Like, what you did make movies when you were a little kid, though. You were always had is what I read. You picked one up when you were like 8 years old. What was that? What was that stuff? What'd you do?
Oh God,
Still
those are in a box in my cousin's house in New York, buried away because no one will. We used to act in them, like we produced them, and I remember there was this one that we shot in Central Park. You know, where like all those rocks are in Central Park.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were just at that time it was I think less serious, more just action adventure because that's the only way I could entertain these 8-year-olds to want to like.
I'm going to say that if you wanted, I mean, there's so many great film people that come out of New York. Like it's just really all of it seems like a set. Central Park and walking down the street. So if you're a young person and you live in New York and you're looking at the bridge. And you're looking at it from different angles. Just everything over there.
It's so cinematic.
It's very cinematic.
Yeah.
Not like over here where, you stand in the corner and then, boom, your cop pulls up.
Right next to a
That's some
ditch.
complaints by the wash. So I do think that, everything has its place. So coming from there, I think there's a good, everything seems to be lining up.
Yeah. So then I had made that short film, and we played a couple of festivals, but nothing really. It got picked up too, and that was it. And then I started just living. At this time I had come out, so that was. I always tell people like a rebirth for me because at this point now I feel free that I can go and date and experience what normal. I wouldn't say normal, but like your average teenager would do in high school.
Right.
But now I'm doing this for the first time ever. So I felt a little late to the game. And
did your brother know?
so he was the first person I told. So this happened on Valentine's Day. And I had just, gone out on my first date and it was a disaster. It got my heart broken and all of that. So going back to that moment where you just can't carry this no longer. I always compare it to like a pressure cooker, where it's like about to go off. I had come to this point in my life where I couldn't do it. And I remember it was, first I had seen Elliot Page had come out as gay. And I saw that speech word for word. I was tearing up. It just resonated with me so much. I grabbed my keys, I went inside my car, and I called my brother. At this time, he was living in New York, so it was like 2 a.m. his time, and I just started crying. And he's like, well, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And and that's where that scene came from. And I said, I'm gay. And he's like, I know. And, are you okay? And just the most comforting words that you want to hear, in at that time. And it's a Valentine's Day I will never forget. And I'm forever grateful that even telling him was just so much weight lifted off my shoulders, and knowing that things were going to be okay, because it was a very dark place in my life. I feel personally, I had made my film, but I wasn't happy with who I was and how I was living. Here I was telling people, go follow your dreams, go be you, and I felt like such a hypocrite because I'm not doing that. So yeah, and then next I came out to my mom, and she cried, but again said, I love you, and I just hope that the world treats you with love and kindness, and that's all. She said.
Oh man, I just think that the society is so set up, like it's so structured of really nothing is good or bad. It just is. Everybody should be allowed to just be who they are. I think one of the things that the problem is in this society is where you try to make everyone think the same thing. And even with the cancel culture of things, like if we remove people who have something to say, then we're going to end up listening to people who have nothing to say. And those people, for speaking out get, attacked and removed. Not all of it's valid, but in a world where we should speak freely, no one's going to if you know that you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your identity, you're going to lose your family, lose your business or whatever, So, because I think in every culture, but I think Latinos too, because of the male and the macho and all that stuff, that if a kid is, closeted, that in a family with, I wouldn't even say a strong male thing, it's just all such a joke. Like, if someone is closeted, I'm sure you heard it all the time. It's just it's such a joke, but yet people who are, and I'm responsible as well, but you don't realize the damage you're doing to those people that aren't out but are around hearing people talk the way they talk. There's such an insensitivity towards people who have big noses like you.
Yeah, and I have a friend who has a big nose, and that dude is...
Hey, fool. So yes, right? And okay, yeah, because...
And I think it has changed now, but I feel, it's all about just educating, and the more people I feel that come out, and maybe it's your uncle or your teacher, I hope to witness one day where it doesn't have to be this conversation, and no other kid has to feel like how I did in that car when I was calling my brother, that I felt like my world was over. Like this was like the biggest secret I had kept, and now I'm releasing it, and holy fuck, that's how I felt basically.
Yeah, because one of the reasons I just admire you so much for being diligent about what you really want to do in life. But I thought it would be important, for us just starting this thing, that I think that your opinion is valid in here, like your free speech, but also where you came from. Like I wanted to know, but also I knew that it wasn't easy for you, and in our culture, that you can't even say you're sick, and people, it's just like everything's a burden to people. Even the thing like, oh, my stomach doesn't hurt. Oh, just everything is so the end of the world that you dare not be honest with anyone. That's why I think that, people lie and they are living lies. And there's only in the one life you get to live, no part of it should be lived in a lie.
Yeah.
And that is what made you make At Last, correct?
Yeah.
That's what's behind. If you can tell us, hey, I got through that. I got a score on that one.
Yeah.
But that is there. That's why I read it.
No, absolutely. So I was thinking, what can I make? I was getting, this urge to want to make something, and what is a story? I felt like I had come to this point where I came to accept myself. I was happy with who I was, and I wanted to tap into that. And I was just thinking about high school, how much I hated high school. You know, I played basketball, you know, competitively since my senior year of high school. And so I was like this freak, like into basketball, also into movies and music. Like I didn't fit in anywhere. And you know, I remember prom specifically. You know, my mom was like dolling me up with my dress and my makeup and all of that. And I just remember being at prom, you know, in heels, and just I was like, I just want to go home.
You had a date for prom?
We all went in a group.
Okay.
So yeah, my group of friends, like they all didn't have dates, so we were just like, let's go dance, you know.
And you know what? I think that's better too, because you know, if you're awkward, you wouldn't go to your prom because you're awkward. But that doesn't mean you can't go in a group of people who are awkward.
Yeah.
Go together. The awkwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The awkwards.
The awkwards.
A group of them.
Yeah. So I was thinking of that, and I was like, you know what? I want to write something about that night. Like if I could recreate that night, what I would have wanted if I had the balls and just the nerve to have maybe found my truth sooner in life.
Right.
This is what I wish it would have been. And
that's important too, because I mean that for In at Last, that's how you would have designed that night for you.
Yeah, or even have to come out even sooner. But I felt like it's such a pivotal night. Everyone remembers it, whether it's memorable or not. You know,
good point.
I was like, this is going to be like the perfect, you know, short film where we can have a beginning, middle, and end, and yeah, that's how we started, you know, creating the story for that.
So can you walk us through, and for people that are listening, that I'm sure will check out at last, a little bit about you creating that?
Yeah, so I had written the script. We sent it out to all these initiative programs you can possibly imagine. Got rejected many, many times. People were like, you can't make this. No one's going to watch this. I sent them a list of my dream cast. They're like, haha, no way. And I was like, okay. So again, I was always, you know, an underdog, even in basketball. So the competitiveness was always in my blood. So I was like, all right, I'm going to prove these people wrong. You know, told my brother, all right, we're going to make this with my other producer friend, Joseph. And literally it was us, you know, making a Indiegogo, this how we could fund it. And going out to these actors. So I had seen Zach, and I'm very passionate about people with disabilities and having a platform where they can shine, you know. And I knew that I wanted her best friend to have Down syndrome. So I had sent his mom the script. She read it, you know, called me that same day. She's like, I'm in. Yes. Like, we need a story like this. And
Zach is, what's his last name?
Is Gottsagen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's did the Peanut Butter Falcon,
Peanut
right?
Butter Falcon, yeah.
She's very good and really great.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, great actor. And then Marlene was the second person, you know, and she's like, girl, anything you're in, you're making, I'm in. And I like to write with actors in mind. It helps with the writing. So I use their voice. And you know, Trisha, who plays the love interest, Sam, I had worked with her in a couple of things. And then Katie, we had produced a short film she was in, and it was just this conversation I had with her. You know, it's all about gut. And I had seen her at a film festival, and I was like, oh my God, this is her. We had a conversation. She sent me a tape, and, you know, she's going to carry this film. And then with George, you know, I
think it is really all about gut.
Yeah.
It's about the gut instinct of a person's own personal gut instinct, not mine for you or you for me, but saying
you have to follow it.
You got to, something's telling me I need to do this, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, with George, and he said yes. And it was, you know,
tell everybody where you saw me the first time.
So he was coming out of a studio by like Marina Del Rey, right? And my brother was driving, and I was, you know, we were still in like pre-production mode.
Like Bowfinger, like when they see it.
And I told him, like, stop the car. And I jump out and I run up to him, and I was like, George. And
I got coke all over right
here. He's literally like going into the
sweaty.
car, and he gets out and he says, hi.
I get out.
Nice to meet you. You know, we shake hands. I'm like, I'm Lorena. I'm a filmmaker. I moved here from New York. I'm writing this film. I would love to work with you one day. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but you meet so many people here in Hollywood, and, you know, everyone's like, yeah, you know, reach out.
Everyone is like...
Yeah. But this guy is just such a superstar and such a gem of a human that literally... it was unbelievable, because this is someone I used to watch, you know, like growing up. And for him to have taken the time to acknowledge, hear me, and just give me that, I got you, you know, means the world. And I don't know how I can ever repay him for that, because, yeah, it made everything, like all the hard work and the hustle, like pay off at the end to have had him be a part of this project.
I really want to tell you go fuck yourself, but it was the coke talking.
And George's role in this, if you want to tell us, because I want to make sure everybody knows exactly what you do in this.
But I'm gonna say, you know, to grow up so isolated like I did, and to be, I never knew my father. My mother didn't want me. When I was born, nobody would hold me. There's no pictures of me as a baby. And you just get to this, you're just like, man, nobody wants me around. And I couldn't ask for anybody's help at all, which I think is detrimental in any community, but especially in ours. I remember one time in high school, I went to the Dodger game with my girlfriend's dad and two brothers, and I didn't have any money. And they were going to buy me food and stuff to eat, and I said no, because I just couldn't even take, like, are you sure you don't want to eat? And I said, no, I don't want anything, starving. But I mean, I wouldn't even say like, yeah, that's cool, great, thank you, I appreciate that. But I didn't have any money. I thought I didn't have any value. So, and it's a long road, but, you know, you've been with me more than anybody else. And I just think that in my health and feeling better, and in my career and achieving something that is insurmountable, like it just doesn't happen, that ultimately the bottom line is when you see somebody who comes to you with a dream, you don't extinguish it. You know, you give them, you encourage them to do it. So when I got out of the car, it's a sign of respect to get out of the car. Like I never stay in the car, get out. And when I said to you, if you get this going, I'll do it. I'll do it. And then, I don't know how many times he tracked me down to the, because Bryan said, how many shows did she go to at the last
That's how we met. That's
Yeah,
how we met. I
hanging around.
I'd say it like that. Of course I did. But you had come to a number of shows. That's how I know you. Very pleasant.
You stayed on it, very diligent, because it's not that I wouldn't have done it, though. It's just that, I don't know, man. You just see how dedicated someone is. And when they don't go away, and it wasn't annoying, you weren't annoying. And I was just like, you know what, I told them, and you know, to tell all the people that I work with, I'm going to do this thing. And like, I'm not doing it for money, I'm just going to do it. Oh, okay. And so I'm going to do it. Even though they probably said, like, you know, you don't need to really do that. I felt like I wanted to do it. Myself having a daughter, and it just seemed like it was, if I could have been that last piece that helps get it done, I'm gonna say yes. And
you were, and I think it was persistence, you know. And I was like, I hope this is not coming off as like, I just knew, you know, that there was no way or no one else who could play this character. Like it had to be George. I wrote it with him in mind, like this. And when we met too, I don't know if I've told you this, but at first time, you know, we talked and you know, we said our goodbyes, and he gave me this hug, and it was this hug that I have probably yearned from a father, you know. And it was a powerful moment, and I just felt the love that I guess I wish I would have had from my own dad. But to have seen you, like, this is our like staple father figure, you know, in TV.
We need to cut this part out, because if Mayan hears this,
no,
she'll be like, that son of a bitch.
Where's my hug?
He's never hugged me. On a dare, I hugged her. Well, I dare you to hug me. When she was 4, she dared me to hug her. But yeah, so I got there, with myself. But when in the late 90s, when I was really in a bad place, I'm not sure how I turned it around. I think I turned it around by first saying I wasn't going to be concerned with what other people were doing, because I spent so much of my time worrying about what everybody else was doing. And, nobody knows if that's going to work. I just thought so much of my time is negative about other people in this business that is nothing related to me. And I wish, to wish someone not well, or it's just, it just felt like it was poison to me. So I thought, let me, get rid of that. And then everything, it's funny, everything opened up, it got very different. But when I, first started showing up at Warner Brothers to write the show, I knew nothing about that business. And it's a big business. You're at Warner Brothers, and, 2.5 Men are over there in the ER, and you're right there, Ellen, and you're just like, man, I'm just this little piece. But there was no way that I wasn't going to leave that place without being successful. Like, I just felt it every day that I got up, like, I'm going to make this, I'm going to carry this thing. And I did, it's still on. So, and that's why I did that with you, because you really don't see a lot of people with that kind of initiative and that kind of drive who already have something prepared. It's usually them trying to see if you're interested in doing something that there's nothing to show them. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it comes back to also like when luck meets opportunity, when you have to go. Like we were literally leaving like the Tom's like headquarters there because we were doing a job, and then I feel in like divine timing, it's all about just putting it out there to the universe. Because I would have never in a million years had you said, oh, by the way, you're gonna pass him, and I was like, yeah, no way.
It's so great that you jumped out.
Yeah.
Both of you. So great. You jumped out. So great. He jumped, right? It was like, it's pretty cool.
But if you don't see me, we're not here.
No way.
Yeah.
And you make the movie.
We make the movie.
And it's very, very critically acclaimed and everything. What has that led to?
Oh, it's led to, film festivals. It's led
Which
to...
is really where everything, that's like the big party, right?
Yeah.
You want to have
Which
your
unfortunately,
film
it's all been virtual. We haven't been able to go to these festivals. We will be, I don't know if I can say this or not, but we'll be on HBO September 2021, which is huge.
Congratulations, yeah.
And yeah, the feature, that's what we're trying to get off the ground.
Beautiful.
Oh, you're shooting this as a feature?
Yeah. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
That was good, though. He was acting. He's a great actor.
Well, I got to do it. I can't. Yeah, and then did any of it, it had to surprise you.
It did, because it was so hard. I mean, we had lost our locations 2 days, like that school that we shot in and the rooftop, we didn't have that the week that we were shooting. And literally, it's now that we've passed that, I can look back and see, wow, Lorena, you and your team are like, I don't know how you did it, because making a film is hard as it is, but add that, just losing locations, losing production designers, and yeah, everything was just hard. But you pull through, and you just look at the finish line. You're like, I have to get there. And knowing that I had, George and my cast committed, because one of my producers was like, what are you going to do if you don't find a location? It's like Tuesday and we're filming on Friday. No. Are you going to call the cast and tell them to? I was like, no. Like, we're going to make this movie no matter what. Like, we're going to find this location and we're going to make it happen. There is no plan B. Like, fuck plan B. Like, we're going with plan A. And just literally determination and working your ass off and not taking no for an answer.
And who shot it and all the equipment? You had to raise money, right? How much is it?
So we raised our Indiegogo, and we raised like $20,000 on Indiegogo.
I was watching some of the videos.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
super grateful for all our contributors.
That's
and
awesome.
we had Dean Cundey, who's worked with Spielberg and Ron Howard, and he was such a little gem, to have had. And I knew that this film was going to look beautiful, with his eye. So yeah, he was one of our amazing, Academy Award winning or Academy nominated cinematographers, and we had an amazing a costume designer and editor who came in to just shape this beautiful film. And yeah, people just wanting to be a part of the story and saw the vision. So I am indebted to everyone who jumped on board.
And what have you heard from people that have seen At Last?
That it's moved them, and they necessarily don't have to be a part of the community to really feel impacted. And yeah, just everything from, the disability community of seeing Zach just be the best friend. Like, we don't talk about his Down syndrome at all. It's just what it is. He is the best friend, her ride or die.
I call him Flash.
Flash, yeah. He says it with
blue velour. And I said, "Oh, Flash! Look out, Flash!"
He says it with pride. He's like, "I'm Flash."
Take it easy, Flash. Hey.
But yeah, just a beautiful. I think the biggest compliment was, we've been nominated for several awards, and my true honor is the ensemble one, because it's such an ensemble piece. Every person, they're acting at like this caliber,
Wow.
and it's. They say acting is reacting, right? So I think it's such a beautiful compliment to the entire cast. And yeah.
Well, I think it's, all those things that are out there to see like this, that if anybody's out there that, is closeted and not, they're afraid and to be themselves and to be their true self, that, the things that creatively inspire people, that this would be one of those things. Like when I saw Chico and the Man when I was growing up, like that was it. I was, I had an occupation, and without that, I'm not sure how many years it would have taken me to kind of to know that was that occupation. So I learned it at 13, and it stayed with me. So for that. Yeah, but I think that the more people see this, that, it's a big deal for you.
Yeah, I hope it starts a conversation and it changes people's hearts. And yeah, besides also the, ensemble, I think another compliment is when people say, I can tell how personal this is, and I think we set off to make a John Hughes-esque, coming of age film. And that was another huge, he's another person that whose work I've, studied. And I think it is, a little John Hughes-esque coming of age tale.
Yeah. Well, what's next for it?
The feature.
The feature.
You've written the script?
Yeah. I have the script.
When does it shoot?
Don't know yet. I don't have a date yet, but it takes place in New York.
You might want to have Luis Guzman be me. He's more New York than
No.
Oh my gosh, yeah, right.
I want the San Fernando boy.
That's right.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
And back to my other question: what's his role? What's George's role in this? Just so people know what to expect in At Last.
In the short?
Yes.
So George plays the dad in the film. His wife is Marlene Forte, and
I'm very excited in the beginning of the short.
Yes.
Because your prom, and I'm just gushing over her.
Oh.
And how I can't wait to walk her down the aisle. All the stuff that inside you'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You're going to find the right man, and I can't wait. It's your prom right now, Mom. I'll be walking you down the aisle. We're going to have all kinds of grandkids.
Right.
You'd be like, oh no.
Gosh.
Scratch across
yeah.
The worst thing you could say.
Yeah. And then, at the end, our hero, Lauren, calls her dad and reveals her biggest, darkest secret that she's been carrying. And I'm super excited for people to see, you in this role, I don't think they've seen really, just being the supportive, loving father. Right. And another thing, I sent you this too, everyone saying that for the Hispanic community and the dads that are the macho dads, we this is the perfect example, to be like, here, this is how you should react if your kid were to, say something, it is like the definition of like loving unconditionally.
Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of like people diminished and hopes diminished. And, that time I told you that my grandmother was brutal, man. And her son brings this woman over that he ended up marrying. And listen, who's to say what's attractive? But my grandmother was all about, first of all, everybody was fat. Even if you weren't fat. They're like, tell her over a fat-ass car. And she's like, she's not even fat. And
or her car.
Or her car. So, but my grandmother laid into her son about the looks of the woman that he brought over to meet his mom. And remember I told you?
Yeah, that's rough.
He was just broken. And he's like, Ama, don't say that. Don't say that. And she just kept saying all these horrific things about somebody who was standing right there with him and us right there. And, it didn't have to break my heart for me to realize how callous and how insensitive and how really if someone can see anyone else's joy, they're not going to see their own. But it was one of those days in my life that it just really, it was devastating to them because you can't take that stuff back. Mm-hmm. And really devastating to me to see somebody who was raising me be so evil to someone, and especially one of her own sons. So that's why I think that all of this is it's just very good, and I'm proud. Like, I tell you, I'm proud of you. It's hard for you to get a hold of me now because I'm in quarantine. but I'm, it means so much for me to see you get what's deserved to you because of all of the different ways that you had to go to get even here. So, yeah, I'll do the feature.
Yeah, I know, and thank you. I always try to.
We need a fluffer. We got right there.
I always try to keep him posted and let him know because I know some people, and that's another thing about George. Some people go and do the job and then like that's it, like peace out. But this guy has been just from start to where we are now, still involved. So thank you.
Well, crazy impressive.
Isn't it amazing how people think I'm an asshole? I kind of am, but I'm not.
You're not an
but
asshole.
not all the way. I mean, I'm kind. I don't think anybody sees the kindness. We were talking about that last week, that there's so much negativity towards me and towards me as a Latino, and really awful things said. And I'm almost 60. Like, we were talking last week, like, you think we're in high school, that people take their time out of their lives to try to attack me? It's more...
It makes their day, apparently.
Yeah.
But so inspirational. You're a person who had nothing except for your own will to make it happen, and it happened. And it's happening. It's really, really inspiring. So great to have you here, because I met you a couple times, and I'm like, oh, she's so nice, and she's very kind. I didn't know you were this brilliant.
Do you think you'll get nominated for an Academy Award?
I hope so. I hope the film, it's been getting recognized, with Oscar qualifying festivals. So
do you know that I'm in the Academy?
I do know that, yeah.
When a couple years ago, when they wanted to add people, they added some African American people and Latino people, and I'm in the Academy.
Wow. So you get to vote.
And you know what I do? I walk in there, I tip over all the punch, all the crackers when they have a screening.
Well,
pull the fire alarm. Fat. No,
he's a bad kid.
But it's powerful to be able to vote.
Oh my God!
When you know that vote wasn't there before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wish you. I love you so much. I wish you the best. And how can people see it? Is there a way people see the short?
So as of right now, I know we're playing the Cleveland International Film Festival April 8th. I don't know if this is going to be out before then or after.
Yeah. No, before.
But yeah, it's playing April 8th, and people can follow us on Instagram at Last Short Film. That's where
Yes.
we're constantly posting, upcoming festivals. And other than that, you're going to have to wait till September 2021 on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
HBO Max. That's when I had a dream I was dating Mia Farrow.
Yeah, this is true, by the way.
I did have a dream like I was dating Mia Farrow.
Really?
And her apartment had the highest ceilings, by 150 feet up in the air. Yeah. Thank you, Lorena, for coming.
Thank you so much.
guys.
Very inspiring.
Loved it.
Does it seem like it was that hard now that you look back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Still.
It is, huh?
So it makes all of this like just so rewarding and
That's awesome.
well played. Yeah.
You know, in the
How
beginning,
great
I would, in the beginning of my show, I would get very emotional because it was all brand new to me. And I'm going to give you some really good advice because I got wrapped up into thinking that everybody there that worked there, that came back every year, 120 weeks, were family. And the thing that was the most devastating to me was when you realize that to them it's just a job.
Oh yeah.
So don't ever get to where you think,
Like emotionally attached to this. Yeah.
because they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And the minute it was over, and sometimes they left to do other things, and you realize that I didn't have a family, so you're trying to make that place a family. And even though they're like, yeah, boss, this is a family,
No.
it's not. Not to appreciate what they do, but not to buy in to the whole thing like, hey, we're just one big happy family.
No.
We weren't. Okay. And with that cheerful,
I was gonna
so
say,
you're not trying to make friends. You're trying to get shows done.
yeah.
And we're going to a show called the Jennifer
Horvath. the popping of the Kansas, I'm sure it sounds great. Great in the podcaster's ears. All right, well, it's time for the news. Let's do the news right now. We've got a few stories I think we'll like. This one, first one from the BBC. I'm into it, right?
This dude is the worst person in the world. What school did you go to? What school did you actually go to where you learn how to read?
I went to Franzen Kindergarten. Was the first.
In kindergarten?
That's what it was called, Friends in Kindergarten?
Franzen, not Friends.
Oh, that Jerry McMartin. Is that the McMartin trial? That kids are running around all naked in the afternoon?
Puppet shows all day long. Friends in kindergarten. No, it was.
They leave naked, the clothes show up like 10 o'clock at night. Oh, your son left this here, his whole outfit.
He had a little swagger to him when he left. Okay.
Gotcha.
This one's from the BBC. Slow walkers are more likely to die, study finds
What
from
does that
COVID.
mean?
It says COVID studiers say slow walkers are more likely to die than brisk walkers. Health researchers based conclusion that slow walkers with a normal weight were 3.75 times more likely to die from the virus than brisk walkers. So if you are a person who just chills and walks slower, you're at more risk to die
As a
than
New Yorker, yeah.
Is that where
that's
you
your-
come
that's
bells
the kind of person you
and
are.
You go farts and you walk away, and if you just linger, you're right in it.
Right? That's what it says. They said walk pace could be used to predict whether someone was at a higher risk from the virus.
I couldn't tell you how many times my grandmother told me she was going to kill me if I didn't keep up.
So it says slow walking was considered to be at a speed less than 3 miles per hour, whatever that is. And then 3 to 4 miles per hour. A brisk...
So the virus attacks gordos or people with a lower...
I think one
RPMs?
is hand in hand with the other. People who walk fast are normally in better shape, but you can tell just by seeing someone walking down the road whether they're higher risk or low risk of catching COVID or dying from it.
Have you ever seen a fatty pick up the pace when the food's ready?
That's right. Those are when he's least susceptible to catch the COVID, when he's chasing a burrito.
Like if Marie Callender's has the all-you-can-eat pie, strawberry pie,
Oh my.
I'm right there.
But yeah, so
That's
a little tip,
interesting.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
I don't know really why they even made the study, but it's interesting that just by looking at someone walking down the street, and I don't know how they figured it out because they don't include that in the article, but they say people who walk slow and just chill, just like are more likely to die from COVID. It'll catch you.
Oh wow, I'll catch you.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that would be the
Why?
case.
Because when they walk, they have to hold on to things like you touch the rail, you got it.
That's probably what it is
right?
too.
You lean on the wall. You're like, oh, we got it. Right?
Touching your
You
face.
can't stop touching your face. You know.
Yeah. I'm guessing that.
When you go like that to look in the bakery or they're making bread, you're like,
No, you touch your nose up against the window. You
like,
got
"Hey,
it.
Fatso, get out of here. Are you already taking things off the window?
And when's last time you heard someone call someone fatso? It's the greatest.
1974.
Hey, fatso. Oh, man, I'll get you.
Oh, you know what? My first game in high school, 1974. How can they put Lopez in the back? They put Fatso back there.
Fatso. Brilliant. All right, from radio.com. Pastor heals people by farting in their faces.
No.
This is a real story.
Where is this?
Man.
This is from radio.com.
Is that from Our Lady of Pull My Finger?
This is from South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa.
Did I just smell my fonts, huh?
Yes, if I must. Should I put my nose up against?
So they go to a church where the pastor farts in people's faces?
Yes, a South African pastor claims that he can heal people by farting on their faces.
Yeah.
That dude's got a fetish.
Chris
He puts
Penelope.
them under the robe. They throw that little oven under the Dutch oven.
he plays the blanket game.
Come over here, my son.
Exactly. My dad healed me.
And the little
so many
confession
times.
booth right there, they put a towel there at the bottom.
Forgive me for I have rapped.
Forgive me, Father, if I have sharded. It's been 2 days since my last shard.
Yeah. He says
He farts in people's faces like
in their faces. He's
Well, listen. If I was sitting in a wheelchair and somebody came over and popped one out in my face, I might stand up and walk. It's a miracle. With one eye just watery.
Faith healer.
It's in my
Faith. It smells like hell. He is Chris Penelope is a
I
self-proclaimed
would like
man
to go to
of
that
God.
church that they're just everybody in line.
Well, see, we don't have photographs of this, but it has been photographed sitting on top of people's faces and farting on them. Now that's inquiring minds. Penelope says he just has to fart on their heads near their nostrils to release the Holy Spirit.
Oh my God.
Man, I'm gonna use that one on my
Holy
wife
Spirit
tonight. Oh man, honey, I swear to God, this works.
Listen, you want things to change in our life? Here, go over here.
Oh God.
Get your nostrils right here.
One of his seminars, there were dozens of people waiting to receive the holy farts onto their faces. Some people have had to wait up to 2 months to meet with Penelope to get farted on. Others don't get to meet with him, but collect his farts in containers to take them with them.
What did it say? So you come to your senses, you get a call. Hello, is George there? This is George. Hey, you just moved up in the list, man. Tomorrow, the pastor's ready to fart on you. Oh. Great. What time? You was planning on having a Salisbury steak tonight with some hard-boiled eggs and some Sunny Delight and some Old English 800. So if you can get there by like 6:45 when he gets up, they'll be right, man.
Make sure you get a little Vicks to clear yourself
Get a
out.
little Vicks in there.
Take a big breath.
Casoto cagados right there. Souvenir, you get the thing, get cagados.
Oh, favorite. But like I said the last time, others don't get to meet with him, but collect his farts in containers and take them with them.
Oh no.
How would that happen?
You ever try to fart in a little bottle, like hold it in there?
I guess they try to collect it in containers because they're not
Like that?
That's what I'm imagining. Sweeping it in there. Little
It's like in the middle of the night. You go over, you take your little container, like to the U-Haul where you can get propane 24 hours a day. You just go to the dude's house, knock on the window. You take the tank from him, and he gives you another tank, and that one has farts in it, and he fills that one up.
Or it's like a Coke bottle. There's a little fart in there. All right, moving right along.
This is a crazy world, man.
Yeah,
Right?
can you believe some dude read and people buy it? People think that's the Holy Spirit coming out of his butt.
So they're actually buying it, like paying for it.
Literally,
Wow.
I think they are. They're donating to the church. I'm guessing that's how it works. And he sits on their face, over their face, and farts into their nostrils.
With holy water with some bubbles in it.
Oh my God.
He goes in the tank at the bottom. Boop, boop. This house is clear.
Cleo. Okay. Insider.com reports that there's a new app that allows you to escape Zoom meetings by playing unbearable sounds.
No way.
Yeah, you know that problem that everybody has, right? Like, hey, I got something in the background. I got to get out of here. So there's an app for that. So it says an app developer has come up with a nifty and somewhat devious solution to help people duck out of boring Zoom calls. Zoom Escaper is a free web widget that allows users to add fake audio effects to a Zoom call, making it so annoying for the other participants that they might end the call.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, according to the article.
Yeah, let me play button number 1.
Yeah. He says, I've been thinking about how to sabotage work in digital context, especially one where the means of production are also personal devices that mediate your social life. So this guy's thinking that it's like a big, problem for him to get on this thing. So now he just jumps off it.
Amazing. Just some lazy dude that's trying to get out of work.
That's exactly what it is.
Can you tell me that, hey, come and eat? Then they record it and sell it.
Yeah. Audio effects range from...
Or in Spanish.
I gotta go. That'd be great.
I gotta go now.
Right?
I gotta go.
They range from scraping sound of chopping connection to broken up words and incomprehensible gibberish. Other noises available on the application to annoy one's coworkers and infuriate collaborators include a crying baby, a man weeping loudly, the incessant barking of a dog, and continuous construction. So that might work.
Which are the ones that will get you? Let's see, the dog barking. I hate dogs barking.
Yeah, I was thinking of you. That's a tough one. That drives me out of my mind.
Yeah.
My own dog.
Out of the Zoom, right?
Yeah, get you out. Baby crying. Everybody understands that. You're like, I gotta
go.
I got a deal.
Your wife ovulating. I'm out.
She makes that on her own Zoom calls. Yeah, that's. But the guy's making money off it already. So
what is it called again? The app?
It is called Zoom Escaper.
Zoom Escaper.
Yeah, you can look it up online. Yeah, we should probably look it up, see what it fits on.
Let's look it up.
Yeah. Let me got.
Is it an app or is it?
It says Zoom Escaper is a free web widget. He's an app developer. And he created by an artist named Sam Levine, Lavigne. And this is how you get out of them.
I had a corned beef $2.99.
I have no idea what that means. I'm
You know what it means.
I'm pretending I don't know what that means.
Where?
You got it?
I think
you
this
have
is it.
Anything? Because my wife has had to get off on Zoom stuff just because there's stuff in my house at times.
Why, it was almost 2 a.m.? Should I go get some beer before they close? Huh?
I don't know. She started listening to these, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Last call will get her out of there.
Last call. Start the car. Here's an Okela article from WHDH.com, which we get a lot of stuff from. Man waiting on final paycheck from ex-employer gets 500 pounds of oily pennies dumped in his driveway.
What?
How about that?
What do you mean oily
A man
pennies?
waiting on a final paycheck from his ex-employer gets 500 pounds of oily pennies dumped in his driveway.
Like he was just bitching about his money and they
Take this.
Oily pennies.
What do you mean oily? Like,
Yeah, a man who was waiting on his final paycheck from his disgruntled ex-employer got quite the surprise when 500 pounds of oil-covered pennies were reportedly dumped in his driveway in the middle of the night. How about that? Andres Flatten of Georgia filed his 2 weeks notice in November, but his boss at Walker Luxury Motors was upset by the development. Apparently, he froze and stared at me for like a straight minute. Flatten told the news outlet. He gets up, puts his hands on his head, walks out the door, and disappears. That's what happened when he quit.
Wow.
So Flatten reportedly left the job due to a toxic work environment, but Walker claimed that the $915 that was still owed him would be delivered in January. So they had a dispute over it. When the money failed to arrive, Flatten contacted the Georgia Department of Labor. Months later, 504 pounds of oily pennies were dumped in his driveway.
what do you mean? They got chorro on it or peed on it?
I don't know how they got them oily. That's a question mark. Flatten's girlfriend shared a video of the massive pile of coins showing her oil-coated hands as she picked them up. When asked about the pennies, Walker told the news outlet that he couldn't recall if he had dumped the coins. He's like, it could have been me. I'm not really sure. He got paid. That's all that matters.
It's good to know people can still play stupid and it still works. I don't know.
Oh, how about this? Flatten says he is currently working to clean the pennies so he can cash them in.
Oh my gosh.
That $950 is pretty important. Best part of that last line. Okay, wow, yeah.
Does anybody want any pennies anymore? Even though it's still money, nobody really, especially They smell like pelos.
Well, I remember when we were young and went to the movies, and I had rolls of pennies to get in the movies. It was I guess it would have been $8 or something like
Behind
that.
the green door.
Exactly.
Cochino with pennies. Who goes to an adult stag movie, a little porno, and puts pennies in it?
that was a little embarrassing.
Sir.
So my brother was behind me, and I paid in pennies. And they're like looking at me like, "Are you serious?" And I gave them all pennies, right? And guess what? My brother gave him a 20. They gave him his change and my pennies.
No way!
He did?
Oh yeah, Brad was not happy.
Two fucking goofballs all the time to go watch on any Sunday.
Right? That's when stuff doesn't work out the way you
And
planned
that
it.
goes right there.
I'm looking for my favorite one in here, real quick that I didn't see early. It's the one I was
Good to see
laughing
you're
about
prepared.
earlier.
Nobody uses paper anymore, by the way.
Oh,
But you take your time.
we're missing the one. We're missing. All right, that's okay.
Which one?
It was
The octopus teacher?
It was when the guys.
Have you seen The Octopus Teacher?
No.
I think this dude makes love to a squid, and then every time he goes to the water, they hook up.
How about that?
No way.
And then he doesn't show up for like a month, and she throws black ink all over him. Like he's all pissed off. Try to scratch his car, she just throws ink at him.
Oh God.
The guy's like having a relationship with an octopus in the ocean. Like they reach out, they touch, and then he comes back and he
crazy.
wraps around his wrist. And then the other one comes back and, "Hi!" And he's like, "I'm going back. Don't go anywhere, octopus. I'll be back Sunday."
Oh, my
And
God.
then through like 4 years, they hook up. Like he buys her a little octopus blouse.
Oh my God. Dude. Oh my God, that's funny.
But she got pissed off when he didn't show up, and she inked him.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm gonna try. She inked him.
Is that what they do? They ink, and then it's a incredible documentary of.
Okay.
How does it must be lonely in the ocean if an octopus sees a man and is like, "Oh, my date's here." Octavia, your date's here. I see his ankles in the water.
Oh my God, his ankles. This is the one that I was talking about a little earlier today. It's how the body of an Arizona great grandmother ended up as part of a U.S. Army blast test.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
so I like I said, I don't have it in front of me. I just looked it up online right now. But what happened was she donated her body to science. She donated her body parts. Well, her grandson found out that they donated her body to bomb testing, and they blew her body up. I mean, I'm just obviously her family hoped Doris Stauffer's body would be used to study Alzheimer's. The story of how she became the subject of a Pentagon
That sucks.
experiment.
They're like, I like to donate my grandmother's body. It'll be done to Alzheimer's.
Right? I'm
What
sorry.
was the
I'm
last time
laughing
she
at
got
this.
banged? I can't remember. Well, I can tell you it's going to be next Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
I'm so
In
sorry. I'm laughing at
Los
this.
Alamos testing facility right there.
Oh, God.
On the way into Vegas. Like Pappy Parker's chicken. And the Bonnie and Clyde car.
God, can you imagine that? Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm laughing. Anyways, the story of
What
how
if they
she
put her in her grandma clothes, like
Oh,
her little shoes, her
that'd be
favorite shoes,
horrible.
and her
my
knitting, and 10.
Can you imagine? That's just got to be the most horrific thing. Story of how she became the subject of a Pentagon experiment casts a spotlight on a growing and unregulated industry, human body brokers. So it's a very long thing, but what had happened is that the son thought she was going to be in a study, and I don't know.
She was in a study.
and they blew her up
The
to find out
Kaboom
what
Chronicles.
Yeah. Her brain was never used for Alzheimer's research. Instead, Stauffer's body became part of an Army experiment that measured damage caused by roadside bombs. That's horrible.
Poor old lady.
I'm so sorry I laughed earlier.
At least they could put her in a uniform with a helmet.
Wouldn't it be good if it was like a
I think
cannonball thing, like an old school
and,
circus show?
the password, "Where's the beef?" Kaboom!
Oh, that's horrible. Okay, sorry. Oh, that's horrible.
Man, that's awful,
poor
man.
lady.
I didn't know they were blowing people up.
Yeah, that's saying that they're brokering bodies now. So once you donate your body, you really don't have any control of where it's going.
That sucks.
There were a couple of Chicanos that broke into Forest Lawn a long time ago, and they were having sex with the people in there.
Oh, for real?
No.
Yeah.
That's when all hope is gone. Like
they
they
dig them up from.
No kidding.
give them the high cold one.
Oh, that's a rough one.
They did. Those guys were. They don't see cameras or anything. What about that? What about when I tried that experiment on monkeys? The monkeys get smart. Like they go in to give it a shot. They have long arms and they reach in the monkey. They go for the balls, testicles first.
Yeah.
And he grabs you. You got the little.
Little help.
You got the little shot. This monkey has me by the nuts. Get over here. Then the other guy goes to the other long arm. I hit both of them. They both drop the needles.
Oh, God.
Hey man, listen. The way that we treat animals,
it's horrible.
especially cholas, you know, all that stuff, the hairspray, all that makeup.
Yeah, right.
You know, you put makeup on, there's a little pig knuckle in there. You try to put
hey now. Yeah, but it smells delicious. Sexy.
You get your makeup at the swap meet. Is this makeup the Estee Lauder? Yeah, but you might find a couple of bones in there. But
Yeah, got the old chicharrones, nail polish. Okay, all right. That's good. Finally, I just kind of want to know what you guys
But you know,
think
when you donate your body to science, like, you don't ask what they're going to do.
I guess not.
you don't have any control, right? I mean, I don't remember when I...
What about you
I don't
jump
know if
out of an
you're
airplane with a old dead grandma on the...
just to see what it...
and you fly into the kids, like, you know, a birthday party.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's kind of thing. It's just like, she made the party.
And one patas over there when you land. You know,
because they always fall off. Yeah,
they skid off. It just pops off like
heavens.
like some little toy.
That's
Okay.
But okay, moving on. Okay. Well, as we all know, I just kind of want to know
Because if you donate it to, they go, what are you going to do with her? It's like, hey, you know what? That's not your concern anymore.
Yeah.
Because you signed that paper.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to dance with her. Watch. Turn the music up. And you start dancing with her. And they're like, hey, that's my grandmother. Hey, you signed the paper. Watch out, I'm a dipper. You know, all the way back.
It's like those kids had their feet tied together and they're dancing.
You're dancing with a psycho mom right there.
Oh, God.
Her dientes come out, you lean back and flat. They lean down.
All right.
Dentures?
Dentures come out.
Oh, that's nice. Anyway, the Wall Street Journal. .com is just reporting that the Miami Beach declares state of emergency to reduce spring break crowds, and I just kind of
I saw like those videos. On
Isn't
YouTube.
that amazing?
What's going on over there? And hey, when is? Listen, this country. When the police are arresting somebody, everybody's twerking by the cops has become a thing now.
We were talking about that on the videos, right? Every 5 feet, you see a girl twerking to make sure she's on TikTok and doing her videos. Yeah, everybody's going for it. It's social media. Crazy.
Unbelievable.
So now you're like, help!
Hey. It's kind of.
When you were in college, did you go to spring break?
Yes, I did. I went to Mexico.
I'm sure you were the belle of the ball.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I was slaying them down there in Mexico. And I went to Rosarito Beach, and it's a big spring break place. And of course,
some ghetto shit, right?
Yeah. Right? But they had cheap lobster. That's why I went there. Cheap lobster.
At Lobster Village. If you're going to shave somebody down, put tacones at Lobster Village.
And nothing went well that time. I twisted my ankle. I fell down a flight of stairs.
God.
And then when I left, I drove all the way to Rosarito Beach. And when I left, they had been painting the building red, the roof red on my car. Had red polka dots.
No.
It never, ever came
They didn't cover it. No. They didn't cover it.
That was the only car in the parking lot. They had red spots all over it.
Oh, fucking Mexicans. How about they call it covered in paper? Right. They'll do the...
horrible, man. I can't believe it.
We used to hire these Mexican painters that'd be like, hey, you guys didn't do the prep kick, eh? That's what all these rolls are for. To cover the car. Oh, it bleeds into shit. That time my grandfather he was painting the house. And him and his nephews painted all the windows shut. Like, they made sure the paint went in the crease.
Oh, my God.
They made sure it went in. And I go, what if there's a fire? He's like, you go out already. Like,
yeah,
like a fire trap. Man.
It's locked shut. That's
it's painted shut. You're never going to open that window.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to get out a few painted shut windows. It's impossible.
Thank God he wasn't a priest who was over there farting on my head in my bedroom. Trying to get some French air.
French air.
That's what my uncle used to say. Hey, man, I'm going to go outside right now. What's the matter? I don't feel good. I just need to probably go outside and get some French air.
French air.
French air.
French air is awesome.
And we never corrected him.
Great. And that's our news. Let's move on to some voicemails that people actually call. We're going to have to put our headphones on, but 818-533-1843 is the number if you want to ask George some questions or advice.
What is it again? I know, they're all big.
818-533-1843.
All right.
You could be on the show. We're good.
Let's hear 'em.
And here's our first one.
Stupid ones. What if it was a reverend?
You know someone's going to do
bless
that
you.
before it's over. Someone's going to make some unnecessary sounds on the voice.
Hey, Mr. Lopez, this is your tocayo here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Just want to say thanks for coming out here and shooting that film a couple years back, Walking with Herb. My question that I had for you was...
Herb.
It's actually, I guess, like a two-part question. The first part is, when was the first time and who was the person that you were starstruck with? And the second part is, who's the most recent person you have still been starstruck, even though you're a celebrity yourself? I know that maybe there might be in a time when you're like, wow, like I'm still seeing this guy. But anyway, thanks for everything you're doing in the Latin community.
I'm not doing Latin community. I'm doing the whole community.
And thank you. Hope to hear from you soon.
I hope to hear from. Oh, I'll call him up.
You walking with Herb.
Walking with
Herb.
I have a couple of votes
Oh,
for you. My guesses.
let's hear him.
He said first person. I'm going to say, and I don't want to start anything. I don't want to start no shit. But I think Erik Estrada was one of the first people you actually saw that you were somewhat starstruck by.
That's very good.
And then
a good guess.
I went to shake his hand and he didn't shake my hand.
Yeah.
And remember that time we were in the car before the first HBO special? And I said, hey, man, when I was growing up, Erik Estrada didn't shake my hand. I should say that in the special. And I did. And that was
I love that.
the beginning
Sorry.
Right?
And look
And
at
the
you now.
And the special after that.
And look
the
at him.
special after
Yeah.
that.
So one time I went to Ralph's on Coldwater and Ventura, and there was a cholo there marking the bread, putting the bread on the shelves. And he's like, hey, guess who was in here yesterday? I said, who? He goes, Erik Estrada. I said, oh, yeah? And this guy starts laughing. I go, what was he doing? He goes, he was in here buying day-old bread. And then the dude said, take it easy on him, man. You won, man. Take it easy.
Oh my God.
I said, in his ratty old Rolls Royce fucking 40 years ago, he goes, yeah, how did you? Yeah.
And I also have a vote for the last one.
Oh.
Maybe. I have a vote for, and I don't know.
Ron Jeremy, am I dressing room trying to get him out?
Yeah, exactly right. He jumped up and his thing came out. Anyway, I'm guessing Sir Paul McCartney at Coachella. Coachella. That was one where it just seemed like you thought it was very cool. I mean, you're not blown
it's very
away
cool.
by
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you know everybody. I mean, there's some huge names.
Can
you
I
could
take
throw
a
out
guess?
there. Yeah, good one.
Prince.
Prince was one. Yeah.
And you became friends, though. Great friends of Prince, though, which is really interesting.
But I think, I don't know. I mean, I testified in the Michael Jackson trial in 2005. And to see Michael Jackson in there looking like a nutcracker.
Oh.
He went straight from F.A.O. Schwartz to the courtroom.
Grant, you got Grant on that one.
Hey, he looked like a straight up nutcracker, man.
Wow.
My line that I got Ellen, I said, he looked like the Captain Antonio, both of them. I think that when you walk into a courtroom, you don't expect that when you're sitting on the witness stand that literally maybe 10 feet from you is going to be one of the most famous people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think Prince, Michael Jackson, Dalai Lama.
Oh, wow.
How did I miss that one? That's big.
So like that. But I think, I don't know, I'm still such a huge fan of people. Bruce Springsteen, that time that I went to go see him, and the first time I didn't say hello, and then the second time I didn't think I was going to be able to say hello.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was going in, his guy said, hey, at the end, stay in your seat and we'll bring you back like that. Even though I met him a couple times, that's still a big thing. And I wasn't a fan like in high school when Born to Run came out, but then that one Sunday when he did like 8 shows in LA and we went to the last show and we got tickets that day, so we were in the last row, and I mean, you see this guy really just,
He's amazing.
oh, incredible. Been a fan for life. So to see him is always, it's always good.
And
Who else?
Elton John.
Elton John, yes.
It's a big one. And George is in the crowd in Vegas. Elton John stops the show and wishes George a happy birthday, which he never
Shut
stops.
up.
He never does.
Oh,
that.
wow.
Really, really cool. That was awesome.
That's a big deal. And he kissed me on the lips. So 3 dudes have kissed me on the lips.
Wait, 4.
4.
Sorry.
Brian.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Muerto also right there. Brian, Eddie Van Halen, Elton John, and Carlos Santana.
It's a good list.
Except for Brian. And only one tried to give me the tongue, and it's right there over there. The peanut butter falcon sitting right across from me.
Did you say that? That's hilarious. Okay. Whew.
Is there any more? Is there one more?
Yeah, I think we got plenty more. Let's cue up number 2.
Hello. This is Yvette. I was just listening to your podcast and enjoyed it, and I was wondering, would you ever work with Erik Estrada?
Was she just listening? Is this live?
Where at Ralph's?
Well done.
At Best Buy? Where does he work?
Oh my God.
Hey.
No, I wouldn't work with Erik Estrada.
Really? Like if he came out, I was like, hey man, let's just put bygones be.
You know he's not going to do that. We're going to throw chingazos. Eh? If we ever see each other in person again, it's going down. Eh? You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I was.
That.
There was a meeting, right? I would
They were
happen to
both
be
there?
shoulder to shoulder with George, and we're at a school function, a fundraiser,
For
right?
Lions School.
And we're shoulder to shoulder. George's like, look at this, look over there, and it was him.
No
it was,
way.
and he looked over, and then George gave the full on. And then here he comes, and then of course now we're in.
And he did nothing, and then he went on the radio and said he wanted to take a swing at me.
No.
And I called him a hindsight badass. And if he ever wanted to take a shot at me, I'd knock the rest of those veneers down his throat. Could go to Dr. Beecham and Pico Rivera, get it replaced.
Oh.
But we were treated very nicely that day,
Fuck him, man.
and I believe it was his wife who put it all together. So it was she was great. We could edit this.
So
out.
no, the answer is no.
Hi, George. Oh my God, hi. I hope I did that justice.
Well done.
So the Grammys just
Why is it so hard to say, oh my God, hi?
And a big thing that came out of it was Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance of her song WAP. And
Which one farted?
It's always been controversial for some reason ever since the beginning of the song debuting. But her performance really, put the cherry on top and upset some people. And then, of course, her fans, such as myself, don't care. We think it's a good song. And so I'm just curious, what is your stance on the song? Do you think it's controversial? Do you think it's too racy, too steamy? Other men rappers in the past have released steamy and racy songs, and so do you think there's a double standard there? So just what is your overall thoughts on WAP and Cardi B? Do you like Cardi B? Do you not?
10,
Thanks.
it's that one question, not 10. What do you think?
Cardi B.
It's almost like 2 Live Crew
Yeah.
of females, since I was just with Luther.
Yeah, right.
Because, men have the right, like she said, they have the right to do all the videos.
Yeah. There is a double standard
There's-
just in
I
general
believe
in the
so, too.
music
There's a double
industry.
standard, yeah.
Absolutely.
I believe so.
And I would just think, you know what? First of all, the Grammys, they know what they're doing, and they know what's not going to be. They didn't surprise anybody. So I say it's all part of the business. Yeah, I endorse people. And that stuff is, but it's really crazy. It's not pornographic, like on that thing, right?
Yeah.
It's for kids
It's
and
out
stuff
there.
like that.
It's out
It's
there,
out
yeah.
there. So if you have kids and stuff like that, like, I don't know, man. It's tough to keep. Like I would always say, once they see it, they can't unsee it. So you want them to not see it, or South Park, which I think is great, or American Family, American Guy,
Family Guy. Yeah.
Family Guy, and that kind of stuff. That's a little bit edgy. Like, you can see the difference in the behavior of kids when. I remember mine was watching Family Guy and South Park, and you could just the things that she would laugh at, which changes them, I think, at a young age. It's almost like it prepares you for another brand of comedy at an earlier age, but with music and stuff like that.
But the production people knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it had
Yeah.
to be like,
They
hey,
have
that's
to rehearse
okay.
all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
for
So
sure.
it wasn't she just didn't do that just out of the blue, right? They knew.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more people to raise your eyebrow at
But-
than just her.
Exactly.
As you get older, I think my musical taste changed. Like I wouldn't really necessarily even know who the top 5 singers are right now, because it's just a different genre. And as kids come up, they're attracted, the younger people are attracted to finding the music that identifies them. So as someone, who's almost 60, I still look to the music that I identified myself with, and that was forever ago. Who do you like?
I have a great appreciation for music, like all genres. Like my brother got me into music, so I love 70s, 80s rock.
Right on.
Yeah, even some like jazz, and I just appreciate all genres.
I don't think there was a bad. Everybody says the 70s was a great. The 70s was a great period of music. Like I told you that I heard "Tear the Roof Off the Sucker Parliament," "Flashlight," "Back in Love Again," LTD, "Brick House," and at that time, all the Elton John songs were a little bit different than in the 80s when, like in the and Van Halen, that kind of rock, Ted Nugent, Kiss, and then in the 80s it got more, Duran Duran, which I thought was pretty cool.
More European sound.
And more European and English beat and The Cure and that kind of stuff. And then
the hair bands and stuff.
The hair bands toward the end of the 80s, and then in the 90s, like kind of rap in the early 80s, and then in the 90s it really kind of found its, with Arsenio Hall show, I think was
big
huge. Like NWA and Vanilla Ice and Hammer and big rappers like that. But
and then it went pop, like in the 2000s.
Oh yeah,
it went poppy.
Yeah.
Who do you like? What's the most recent artist that anybody now?
Oh, anyone now?
I struggle now.
Oh man, that's a hard question.
Yeah, me too.
I go back, like you said, I can
tell you mine. I just got my Kirk Cameron album in the mail.
Hey man, that's a solid 8 track.
It's called Our Lord Frat.
You're healed.
My shoulder doesn't hurt anymore.
All right, you got another one? Right on. Number, is this 3 or 4?
Hi, George. My name is Steve, and love your show.
I'm an alcoholic.
Just curious, when you dream, do the people speak in Spanish or English? Thanks. Bye.
That's a fucking
wow.
That's quite a question, though, from a
racist
white,
bullshit.
obviously white dude.
Huh? That's some race. That's some.
He wants to know about your dreams.
My dirty dreams are all in Spanish.
I know.
Exactly.
Is that a legit question? Or is that guy just?
Well, I mean, we can make it legit.
Are you having a laugh?
We can make it legit.
I think I think I dream it. I think people think I'm way more Mexican than I really am.
He's just outing himself right now. Hey, man.
Listen, I'm 33% Native American, so if you excuse me, I got to get to San Manuel.
There's a martini waiting for me at a slot machine.
They thought they were very disappointed when my DNA results came out. I dream in English. Also want to say that I had my house cleared out of spirits as well before we wrap this show.
Which is?
Because we're talking about all the spirits. So, Grant, I had somebody come over yesterday and clear out the evil spirits from my house. And there was quite a bit of them.
No.
From the 20s.
That to me was scarier than seeing and hearing all the sounds that he has. The woman who cleared it out freaked me out. I've told him today. I'm thinking about it all day.
So we'll put some videos. I don't know if that won't. We can pixel later, I think, or just use the audio. But yeah, and it's funny because I had my opinions on where it was and who it was, and hers was the same as mine, without us even really knowing each other.
Oh wow!
That above the living room in that crawl space that looks like an attic, that they may have put the kids in there to be punished, and that's why that rattling comes from there. And also underneath by the front door, they might have put them in there as punishment. Oh. But also a lot of the things that I have in my house belong to people that are no longer living. So I believe that a couple of them came because they were attached to some of the things that...
That's crazy.
Or were friends, and that they were in there as well. But there was a lot of what that... A lot, not just what you think, like, oh, I'll burn some sage and it'll be gone. No, it took a couple of hours. And then last night was the first time that I was in there overnight. since it was done, and I'm going to tell you, like, it just feels different. It feels, it's hard to say, like, if you went into a place that now I guess you wouldn't know if it was clear or not, but just into a place where you don't assume that anything's in there. I had that for the first time in 7.5 years, that it felt like the first time I went home that it's, because there's nobody there, but it just feels clearer and empty, but it doesn't feel a little bit gloomy because those faces started to show up in the images on the pictures. And that's when I said, because I was going to kind of leave it if they were just making noise, but when I started to see those faces in the reflection of those pictures in my room, we saw that one. That sent you that green face one, and we'll put them up there so people will look.
Creepy.
And when I saw that one, I was like, okay, this, I gotta get.
Oh God.
So there is such a thing, though. There's someone you could hire to get rid of all the spirits in your house.
Imagine if I would have hired that priest just come and throw pedos in every room.
It's going to cost you 2 burritos.
Be sleeping outside. Machaca, some Sunday Delight, hard-boiled eggs, and some Old English 800.
I think there's one more left.
Brat.
Wonderful. Do we have any more? Do you want to do? We're good?
I think that's it. Another fantastic.
Lorena Gordon, it's such a pleasure to have you in. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
Oh, by the way, one last thing.
Yes.
The name of your movie.
At last.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the person who co-wrote that was Matt Gordon.
Yes, I did that while we were clearing the song. Everyone's like, did you name it because of the song?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it was like, at last, she's finally her true self. So,
But
a
very
lot of people
cool that-
think-
Who's Matt Gordon? I don't know who that is. What is
He
that?
co-wrote At Last. No,
How's that go? Wait.
One more time.
Wait a minute.
And a one.
Come on,
and a
Bryan.
two. At Last. Etta Fitzgerald sang it and made it famous. Well, so did Billie Holiday, by the way. But I mean, it's this really famous song. Obviously, that song to clear
Yeah.
it. And that's how you find out, because I didn't know at first when I
Man,
read
this
it.
dude, he's all baboso. Okay, anyways,
Hang on,
thank you.
I am right now. I can't end the show. Anyways, love you all.
Thank you,
You guys are
everybody,
awesome.
for.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lorena. And I wish you continued success. You have a bright future ahead of you. Not you, but you.
This is it. Oh, please keep leaving voicemails and at 818-533-1843, please, and thank you.